If you had to guess what time I woke up last night, what do you what would you put your money on? Um, the interesting game is wondering if because the numbers in my head I'm making it happen, or if it's happening, that's why the numbers in my head. And then if you zoom out and think about the bigger universe or whatever, I guess they're the same thing. Uh, on the way to record this, I saw uh, 777. I saw four sevens actually, so I think I'm on the cut. I saw Z and three sevens. Z counts as seven, I think, in numerology. But then I saw 333. Like as soon as I leave work, and I'm like, fuck, still. I'm still in the season of whatever this is, whatever I'm supposed to figure out, which I guess is exciting, um, albeit exhausting. So last night I wake up at 3:33. I'm like, there's no fucking way. Um, what are the odds of that? So what I want to talk about and what I've been thinking about is psychological trauma and how it shapes patterns, cycles in your life, and then how I can conceptualize it. I'm going to just refer to it because I don't know technically like what's happening inside your brain to come up with a you know a term for it. To say this is like make up a word. I'm not Carl, but I'll tell you what I see, um, and how I conceptualize it. Follow me on this one. Okay, so I dated a girl who, for a year and a half, hid that she had a secret family, three kids. I believe she was married to the second husband and cheating on him with me. She came on family vacations with me. She, like, you know what I mean? Like, and then when I found out she didn't tell me. She's like, oh, we'll just tell everybody that, we'll still be together and we'll just tell everybody. Like, we aren't telling any. I think you need to go on an apology tour and then we'll talk about if we can be together or not. I couldn't. It took me 6 more months to stop talking to her. The amount of processing I needed to do and wasn't able to do was like, my world turned upside down. I became a different person. I was so profoundly hurt and betrayed it because the person I was dating was a fictional character. And it wasn't until I had a good therapist who was like, well, like the signs were there. You weren't getting your needs met, right? I was like, well, yeah. Like I couldn't get over it until I realized how it's my fault. That's usually when like you have to go through, I don't know, it's 5 or 7 stages of grief, but if you're still in anger, you're at the beginning. So you have to figure out how you're not quite fully an innocent victim, you as in me. So uh, that's when I started the healing, is finally like after 2 years of causing chaos in my life and other people's lives. Um, now, that girl uh, was sexually abused as a child. She doesn't have any memories before age 7, she said, which is a alarm. And she lost her dad when she was young. She found him dead in the bathroom. And she doesn't know who or what happened before. You know what I mean? Like if it was dad or if it was someone else. I don't have the story. But you could tell by how she acted. Like sex was a big thing. Like, sex was how she received and gave love. And I guess the problem is she wanted it from everybody. Um, I don't want to yuck anyone's yum, but to each their own. So here's the thing. Um, Dealing with someone who had super, like, here's the thing is we'd be like getting ready for bed, and then she goes to the bathroom and calls her children secretly, and then finds out she has to pick her kids up from school the next day or take them to school. So she comes out of the bathroom and engineers a fight where that's my fault, so she can get up and leave in the middle of the night. And at this time, she convinced me she lived in Wisconsin when she lived down the street from me in the apartments next to my house. So she leaves in the middle of the night, says, I'm getting on a plane. I'm like, there are no flights right now. So, like, go to sleep and then you can hate me tomorrow. Like, what's going on? And it's so interesting how the universe works. So she leaves in the middle of the night, gets in an Uber, and then drives to her apartment. And I didn't know where she went. And then comes home the next day, like, can we talk about how it's your fault and I forgive you kind of thing? And I was like, where were you last night? Show me the receipt of the hotel or whatever. Like, I'm not going to listen to a word until you. I will. I'll show you. She was thinking she's going to like Photoshop something. I'm like, no, you have to show me right now, or we have. I'll never talk to you. Like, I know something's going on. Don't fucking lie to me. And of course, you could catch her with a dick in her mouth. She'd still be like, it's just a hot dog. I was just seeing if there's just some mustard spilled, and I was trying to get it up. Uh, that it really. I joke about it now, but it was like really a super painful time in my life. Now she had a lot of psychological trauma that she's not even beginning to unpack, like narcissism off the scale, and like a typical narcissistic mother. I found out after we broke up, like she sent her boys to school in dresses and nail polish and stuff. She's like trying to get, look what a good mom I am type of thing. Um, so the interesting thing is it took me 6 months to actually like, cut it off because I didn't tell anyone what I found out for a month. I could just like walked around like a zombie trying to deal with it on my own. Like, what do I do? Like, how do I couldn't believe it. It's like I woke up in a different world. The person that I loved was dead, didn't exist. And then there's like this new person. And then she had like her family was even different. She had a brother that was in jail. She never told me she had a brother. I was like, what the fuck? Why even lie about that? And the interesting thing, another interesting thing is there's so many interesting things. I learned so much from this bitch. This poor lady. She told me one day that when we get married, if we had a daughter, she wants to name her this name because she always liked the name, and my friend had that blah blah blah, and her 12-year-old had that name. So like weirdly, she just stopped me in the middle of my day to give me like a little piece of her actual life. It's a really bizarre thing. Like academically, I'm so interested in what's going on in this psychopath's head. Um, Now, you know, I got over it when I realized that, I participated in my own abuse here. But when I didn't understand that, I was a victim and I was extremely hurt, right? So dealing with things like this and people like this, I could never imagine. It wouldn't be in my imagination to do this to somebody, to get my. And she was also trying to get pregnant. She was pretending she was on the pill. Um, like that was the first time I was like, oh, thank God, thank God. There's one therapist I had. I was like, if she got pregnant, I would have had to take her in the woods and kill her. He's like, yeah, totally. It's like, okay, I don't want you. I don't just need you to agree with everything I say. I need to stop hating. Do you understand? Like, help me. Don't just agree with me. Um, So like that caused me a lot of pain, right? And here's how I'm going to conceptualize it is she is deeply psychologically traumatized from whatever happened to her in her childhood or from young adulthood or whatever. I wasn't there. It wasn't my fault. And when that happens, it's like whoever is, Jung says it's not the healthy man that tortures; it's generally the tortured that torture. So someone is traumatized, and they give their trauma to this child, innocent child. It is like passing on an STD, but it's like a psychological problem, which I conceptualize as a spiritual problem. She contracted a spiritual STD, which I'll just for argument's sake, I'm just gonna say demon because I like the word. So then this innocent child, became a demon. That means no matter how much love she receives, she doesn't feel like she's being loved. That means anyone who loves her will eventually receive the fucking wrath of a demon. Like, I can't tell you how literal that is. And no matter where she goes, the happiness is a temporary condition because she needs to feed this demon. The demon that she thinks is her, she defends. So even if I gave her like, hey, this helped me, uh, this book or doing mushrooms or whatever, she like the demon knows how to protect itself. Like she wants to stay the same because that's what she knows. That's what she's protecting herself. And I guess my mistake is thinking that people change for you. Like God does it for you, forces you when you need to do it. That's what happened to me. Like no matter who wanted to help me and told me that I was with the wrong person or whatever, I had to do it myself. Like there's no one can tell you anything. You have to experience it yourself. And psychologically, your subconscious mind will force you to do that. You're going to be led to situations that create the trauma that you had as a child so that you can alchemize it, so that you can change it. And I believe that's what I'm dealing with right now. I believe that's what I'm in the middle of. I've just experienced something that made me feel like my childhood. So the thing is, with a woman like this, on the surface, you can tell, like guys joke, never stick your dick in crazy, right? But I could tell that she was a deeply wounded person, and game recognizes game. So no matter how vicious she was, and destructive and self-destructive, I understood where it was coming from, and I tried to love it out of her or fuck it out of her or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I tried everything that I could because obviously there's something in me that has the archetype of the wounded healer. It's like I need to fix things and I'm looking for an injured bird to mend the wing and whatever so I can help it fly. There's something definitely there. There's some archetype. So from that um, experience, I found that if she got a demon, what is a demon's job? Is to create more demons. So to feed off negative energy and to create a demon out of me, which she did. For a period of time, I was not myself. They say, don't let the devil change you. So I was extremely hurt. So everywhere I went, I brought that with me and I gave it to other people. So I was looking to numb my pain, just like this woman did with sex or drugs or whatever else she was up to. I was trying my best to get rid of the pain. And it's hard to do that. At the time, I barely drank, and I never did any drugs. But uh, like I just tried to move on, and I just tried to have some semblance of normalcy. And there was just this, like a rain cloud following me. It felt like no matter where I went, I could not be happy. And while that was the case, it seemed like her life was going great. Um, she moved on right away, and then it's she would post things specifically. Everything was a post on Instagram, uh, a veiled attack at me. Like she would be like, "I'm so happy, like I'm dating someone who's not like my ex," kind of posts like that. And it seemed like she was like on the fast track for marriage, and it was like, uh, people around you who are energy vampires will show you what's going on with your ex. I wasn't seeking it out, but like, oh, I saw, look at this picture. It's like, why are you showing me this? Um, and I was like, the guy looks gay. And it turned out, um, they were seeing a fertility doctor. She told me this later. And they were going to have kids and get married. And I guess he was like kind of sterile because he was taking steroids. And she went through his phone so many times in the middle of the night. She was like huddled over my phone like Golem from Lord of the Rings in the dark, eyes glowing. Um, because, an accusation from a narcissist is a confession. So she was thinking I'm doing something because she was doing something. And she thought I was a narcissist because she's a narcissist. Um, it's funny how we tell on ourselves. But she found out that he was on the internet. Uh, how do I phrase this? Sucking and fucking trannies. So she told me that she learned her lesson, and I got my karma from messing with you and all this stuff. And I was like, I don't know. She tried to befriend me and be in my life, and I was like, you know what? No, thank you. Like, I'm over it, but I don't want to have anything to do with you. Um, I got the lesson, and I know that was she was around for the lesson, not a permanent fixture. Um, a complete mess. And it was interesting. Also, you can see the psychological trauma inside because she's fucked her face up. She's like a completely different looking person. She has done so much surgery and stuff like that. Is like, I guess demon is the right word to use. Um, but I, in my heart, feel like everybody is innocent. Everybody is good. Everybody has the capability of learning and growing and becoming better, at least. And that thought, has caused me a lot of fucking pain in my life. Um, so now here's the interesting thing: is like I was describing it as this is a psychological, contagious thing. When you deal with someone whose vibration is low and it's contagious, especially when you have sex with them. I'm not sure why that is, but I became like her. I had I didn't have regard for other people because I was focused on my own pain. It's also, you have to realize that's what's happening to people that are, it's the torture that torture. So it also helped me feel like whoever did that to an innocent child, like when I say it's a demon, it's like, okay, you can forgive the person. Like, it's easy to be like, okay, they were possessed by something, and that possession, the purpose of it is to pass that on. And I think the people that abuse children are, it doesn't make sense to me that it's a human being. It doesn't make sense to me that that's a desire of a human to look at an innocent child and like how what's going on. Uh, And then it's worse than a death sentence for the child. If you kill a child, life will eventually move on. People will forget. It's a tragedy, of course, but when you abuse the child, they will go through their whole life destroying everything they touch. It's like a it's like toxic waste, and it is such a hard thing to get over and change. Such a hard thing. Um, and I know so many people it's happened to, and you know when you try to love someone that never feels like they're loved, it causes profound pain. They're the hardest people to love. Ask me how I know. Game recognizes game. So it's hard to talk without getting emotional. There's probably nobody more deserving of love in the world than these people, than us, than abused children. But it's this weird tragedy where you have to do the work on your own to learn how to receive it. No matter who the person is, how good or bad they are, you'll never accept it. You'll never feel loved. And I think that's what I'm learning at this stage. Like obviously this is the wound where the light enters. It's like this is what I'm supposed to figure out. Because I seek this unconsciously in other people. And my attempt at helping them is my attempt at helping myself. And helping someone else who's been close to me my whole life who never felt like they were loved. And I saw in the relationship that they had that the other side made every concession. Okay, everything that you want, we'll do it your way, and it was never good enough. And because I see that, I know that's the path. So if I see that, I'm like, fucking, I lived my whole life watching that. And I was emotionally involved the whole time, wanting to fix it, being powerless to. So, my psychological trauma, my demon, is this trying to figure this out. Recreating the same cycle. That's what I've been doing, is recreating the same cycle so that I can fucking stop doing it. So that I can figure it out. Alchemy. So somehow this is for my fucking benefit. Thanks, God. Jesus. It's like you can know it, but it's like, why does it have to be like this? Why does it have to hurt so bad? Why does the person you want to love, that deserves love, you can't make it work? You can't do anything. The only thing you can do is save yourself. That's a fucking sad reality. But light at the end of the tunnel. So I said I was on the phone with like an ex-girlfriend who called me just randomly. So, and my cheek hit 3 and it was like 5 threes. It was like, okay, somehow this is connected. I would describe her as having a similar pain to the girl with kids. Um, and when we talked, how much backstory do I give you? Our relationship sucked. Initially, I was really on the fence. I wasn't interested in her. She was pursuing me. Maybe that's a lie. I thought she was pretty, but she was the aggressor. But I didn't see a future in it. She's 5 years older, and it just, I don't know, just didn't seem like all my check boxes were there. But when we hung out the first time, we went to a Persian restaurant, and she threw butter at me. Like, it was like she unwrapped it and like put it on my face, and it sticks in my. So all day I'm smelling butter, and I was like, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" And then I like weaved butter into her hair. I was like, "Good luck, get the fuck out!" Like, it was the weirdest thing. Someone asked me after, like, "Are you ever gonna see her again?" I was like, "Fuck no, that girl's crazy." Then she would send me knife emojis like, "Why? Who are you with right now?" And I was like, "Well, that's kind of endearing." "Oh, I'm in danger. I'll listen here more." So it was at the time when I was still seething in pain from the girl with kids debacle. So I felt emotionally unavailable, and it was any type of intimacy felt like too much for me. Like any type of, she's like, "Can we wear matching Halloween costumes? That would be cute." I was like, "Look, bitch, you want too much for me. Like, we're going too fast. I can't do this." Um, which is funny in retrospect. It's like that's like it's nothing. Like, who cares? But I was like ready to run at a moment's notice because I was afraid of getting hurt again. So like I was in therapy and I would talk to her about this stuff, and then um, eventually what she did was she started hanging out with someone else and gaslighting me, and then that guy's girlfriend messages me on Instagram and says, "Can we talk?" And I was like, "Is this about our exes dating?" And she said, "Yeah." And we became really good friends, actually. We're still friends to this day. And she described her ex, this guy that, like, I knew him from the car community. And I told him, I was like, "Hey, if you guys have something going on, just let me know. Like, I don't need to be here." She's saying, you know, she's saying that there's nothing. And then um, I think for Valentine's Day, I took her on a trip, like leading up to Valentine's Day, and then the like actual Valentine's Day, she ignored me. I was like, "Okay, so whoever she's hanging out with today, that's who she's with, obviously." And then more heavy gaslighting. "I'm just mad at you because you didn't do the things that I wanted and whatever." And then I'm hanging out with my friends. I'm like, okay, and that's how it ended. Um, and the guy was a drug dealer, and someone had told me that she asked him to have someone break my legs or kill me or something, which, like, she probably did say that, but I don't think she was serious. But that describes like the type of, you know relationship. It was very obviously like a Latina. She had a lot of fire. Um, she's on fire. So because she's from hell. So like all of them, all women, not Latinas. I don't want to be racist. So that's why they get so hot at night. Um, Channeling hell. So God, there's so much backstory. Okay, so she had like a similar type of trauma that she never got over, and then um, no matter where you go, there you are. So me and the um, that other girl that I became friends with now, um, we're exchanging notes and like, whoa, on this day, what happened? Oh, on that day, oh, they were hanging out. Okay, we're like figuring things out. And then she was like, I know something that can ruin his life. I can get him his third felony and he'll go to jail for life. And I said, don't do anything because they're both narcissists. They'll destroy each other. Like you don't need to do anything. Leave it alone. She was like, you're right. And I was like, give it 6 months. If after 6 months you still feel that way, then fine. 4 months later, someone sends me a screenshot. So did you see this? And I'm like, see what? And the guy publicly accused her of incest. Like, and then she aired out his dirty laundry that he's like addicted to fentanyl and stole 15 grand from her. I mean, I was like, I sent it to my friends. Like, you see, like I couldn't have done that. There's nothing I could have done that's that bad. Um, God keeps score, right? It felt vindictive because of all the like she was really tarnishing my name after we broke up. And then people were like, "Oh, okay, so it's not him, it's her." Um, so it ended very badly, and I never thought I would ever talk to this person again. But as I started to grow, I started to understand like I understand where you're coming from. I understand where I was obviously not innocent. I you know I was walking in a minefield, but I shouldn't have been there, frankly. Um, so now me having a positive conversation for like 2.5 hours on the phone with this person is very different. So like enough things happen in her life and the right set of events that now she's appears to be on the ascension timeline, on the path of recovery, on the path of self discovery and healing and alchemy, which is why she reached out um, and listened to all that stuff. Like she would have never, like if I, just like the other example, if I suggested something that would help, she immediately rejected it. She immediately thought I was attacking her or making her feel like you need to be different or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm telling you, I in here I feel the same as you. I've had that my whole life. The darkness that goes everywhere you are, I understand, and I would love it if you had even a moment without it. Just so you know, it's like just fucking trust me, listen to me, and of course, same. If someone came to me and said the same shit, I'd say fuck you, leave me alone. I don't need to be what you want. Um, and I understand like the things that I've been journaling about is like there we each have individual karma. We each have to find our own power, and it happens when God decided this is how it's going to happen. This is what's going to change. This is what's going to. So I don't think anyone's a lost cause. I don't think anyone is like beyond saving. I think it happens when we're ready, when we want. That quote I read: "Nothing happens until the pain of staying the same outweighs the pain of change." And to me, I didn't want to change. I don't want to change. I wanted to stay unconscious. I wanted to stay on the same path. I don't want to go down a new road where nobody else is going, where I don't have any help or no one understands, and no one, even my therapist, ran out of shit to say to me. It's like, it doesn't sound like you need me anymore. It's like, well, like the questions I have are for God now, not for you, which is where Jung comes in. Not that he's God, but he's like, yeah, okay, so here's another thing. I watched a video about, so Jung was a student of Freud, and Freud thinks we're animals with complex, systems. That's it. And Jung knows, just like I know, there's more. So there's like phenomena that he experienced where it's like he heard a loud bang and he went into the next room and spontaneously the table had broken in half, or he heard a commotion in the cupboard and found a knife that broke into three pieces. And as he's telling Freud this stuff, Freud's like, there's a perfectly logical explanation for it. There's nothing out of, out of the ordinary here. And then they hear a bang from the bookshelf, and a bunch of books topple over onto the floor. And Jung is like, see? And then Freud is like, no, I mean, this is nothing. You're dreaming. Like, this is just a natural phenomenon. And then Jung was like, it's going to happen again. And then it happened again. Boom. And then Jung describes it as Freud looking at him aghast. Like he was dumbfounded, like, no answer. And Jung was like, I don't know what made me confident that it was going to happen again. I just knew. So his concept of consciousness, like, it's not just inside our body, like it exists outside also, which is how I'm seeing numbers and symbols and purpose and everything. Um, my consciousness is attracting something, attracting a lesson. So he also said that until you make the subconscious conscious, it will lead your life and you'll call it destiny. You'll call it fate. But it is leading you to where you need to go. It's leading you to your wounds. So in retrospect, of course, like all these like very damaging things that happened to me made me shitty for a while, made me hurt for a while. But I'm so thankful for each of these lessons. I wouldn't I would not trade the lesson now, which is a crazy thing to say because it's like you've never felt such horrific like depression and feeling lost and dull. It's like COVID. Like you like nothing. This tastes like paper to me. It's like you could be out at the fanciest party and it just you're you don't feel. It's like this is such an interesting place. Um, so again, like conceptually, like I can forgive this girl because I see it as like, okay, she contracted this psychological problem that I'll call a demon, and it was the demon's actions. Now, the hardest part of this concept is accepting that I am also that. Is that I obviously have been a demon to people. There are I'm sure there are people that have been afraid of me, afraid of what I could do to hurt them or say to them, and Jung says, you don't deny your darkness. You have to incorporate it. So the brighter the light, the darker the shadow. That's why the people, these priests pretending to speak to God, are the ones that are doing things that they shouldn't be doing. It's like they're denying that they have any darkness to hide it. And to have like a complete psyche, you have to know that you are capable of being the devil. We all have that ability. We all have done it, I promise. Um, so demons. So here's what I come to understand is that this concept of a demon possession or a demon attached to your psyche or whatever, like this is just it's a psychological condition that I'm calling a demon. What happens is either when your vibration is low, so either when you are traumatized, drunk, high, like that's when these things happen is because you're vulnerable. It happens when you're a child because you're vulnerable. Like your body has a natural defense to most things. And that's why they call alcohol spirits. Um, and that's why I don't have like caffeine puts your body, like gives you adrenaline and your body's in fight or flight, so it gives you energy. But like you know, the people that are driving on the freeway and cutting each other off and about to like murder each other, it's like it's because they're in fight or flight. Like it is a drug. We shouldn't, it's crazy that everyone's just around heavily caffeinated. It's a drug. It's very strange that it's so accepted. So I'm driving down the freeway. I had a Red Bull. Someone cuts me off. Hey, fuck you. Then I'm like scaring like you know, an immigrant with their kids in the car. And then he becomes a demon in front of his fucking kids. And then his kids become, you know what I mean? That's how I became a demon. And I gave someone my demon. It's very hard to catch in the middle. So I hope, my hope is that, because I don't know if you could ever find someone that doesn't trigger you in any way or that you don't get triggered anyway, but your ability to respond should get better over time the more you learn about yourself. So the more that you learn about your triggers and the more that you learn about your own darkness, you can become an alchemist. So rather than the pendulum swings, you did this, so I did this. You did this, so I did this. You did this, and I'm gonna not. It's such a powerful thing to do. It's such like a important thing to do. Like, what do we have consciousness for if we're just animals? Animals are cause and effect. Um, so much, like, you can do your best to not traumatize somebody, I suppose, but um, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So I can't tell you specifically, like, this is the thing that happened to me when I was little that changed it all. I don't know. But I recognize when someone else has it. And I know that I'm hard to love. And it made me think that, the older people that I watch that have this deserve love and need love more than anybody. But they never accept it, they never feel it. It's never been enough. And that's like why I felt when I was little I had to pretend to be sick to get attention. My mom was convinced I was like I was an inch away from death constantly. It's like I was fine. I just didn't do my homework. I didn't want to go to school that day. Um, but I would, I'd get attention. I'd get love. I'd feel something. And obviously, my mom did that when she was growing up. And now I have gone the opposite direction where when I'm sick, I don't tell anyone to complain. I don't want to take medicine. I don't, you know what I mean? The pendulum swings both ways. So, like, I've been observing people my whole life to understand. Like, if you see videos of me as a baby, I'm like constantly, I've never stopped absorbing. It's like, why did that person do this? Why did that person do that? And trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together because we're all doing things out of pain and we're all doing the same thing, which is looking for love. We're looking for love. And we're here to learn how to love and how to be loved. And I'm not sure which one of those are harder. Both are extremely difficult. Because if I show love in a certain way and someone doesn't receive love in that way, will completely miss each other. All my energy is going to nothing. And that person hasn't learned how to receive. I haven't learned how to give. That's really tragic. And then I think, like, okay, so, like, what is it supposed to look like? Are you supposed to meet someone and grow together and teach each other? Or do you do the work on your own and then you attract the person that matches that? You get a reward for doing the work. You know what I mean? It's not acknowledged in the outside world in any way except your vibration raises and then you're qualified for a better quality, which makes sense. It makes sense. But is that the best story? Call me a romantic, but I feel like if you climb the mountain with someone, it's a much stronger bond. But you don't climb the mountain with someone on your back, they have to be climbing too. So this is the hard part where it's like, I believe now that 333 means let go. To let go of control or expectations of what's supposed to happen or what's going to happen, because, like, I saw this ex that I thought was always going to be uh, the architect of her own misery and blame everybody else. You know, she explained to me on the phone that that guy that she left me for was always complaining about his ex. She did this to me, she did that to me, and she was like explaining how she was a therapist to him. And then I was thinking, like, this sounds a lot like how you complained about me. It's like, you realize you're doing it. Like, you're seeking out people that have this. So, like, at a certain point, you have to be like, oh, okay, I did it to myself. You can't just be like, it's everyone's fault but me. And then in our conversation, I was telling her, teaching her that that's how the universe works, is we're teaching ourselves through other people. It's like these people might not even exist. Like, you might have just made the whole fucking thing up. We're just hallucinating. You're hallucinating reality to learn. So if you don't learn, fucking, maybe next time, maybe the next lifetime, maybe the next incarnation, maybe the next planet. I don't know how it works, but I think we're supposed to learn stuff here. I think it's hard to learn stuff here, and it's painful. I know that I have been pushed to talk this out loud, to process, so I can dig deep, alchemize, and figure it out. So, um, I'll have moments of clarity throughout the day, and when I'm not overwhelmed with any type of emotion, I can think clearly and I can see the bigger picture and I can see the bigger plan that God for sure has. And it's quite comforting. But the hard part is letting go of expectation and desire and my own timeline. Um, if I felt like I learned all this stuff, um, but attracted more or less a similar lesson. And I know it's for a reason, and I know there's something left undiscovered, which is what the purpose of journaling is. There was a long period of time where I couldn't, like, I still find it hard to hug my mom or even let her kiss me on the cheek. It's like it's foreign to me. And obviously, like growing up, that's who you want to love from the most. And I remember I was not talking to my mom for a long time, for months. And it was the happiest part of my life because I was finally free of her negative energy. I was finally free of her prison. The prison, self-imposed prison she's in, she was transferring it to me. So just being under the same roof, like I was exposed to her, like every day is a bad day, nothing ever good has ever happened to me, this is expensive, your dad's an asshole, this whatever. And I just needed to not. It's like, can everybody shut the fuck up, please? And I had like a profound religious experience on mushrooms where I forgave everybody and loved everybody, and then I didn't keep my boundaries, and I didn't learn how to keep my vibration high. I didn't learn how to prevent the negative thoughts and negative manifestations. But I wanted at one point, um, I did mushrooms and I was like, I want to hang out with my mom. Like I hadn't talked to her in 3 months. I was like, Amber, take me to my mom right now. And she's like, you're high. Is that a good idea? I'm like, yes, for sure. Um, but you know what happens when like your ego dies is you stop thinking this person hurt me. You stop thinking this is unforgivable. You see from a different perspective. You see other people's pain. Like if they're not able to get over their pain, they're always going to live and react in a way that comes from that place. And because you have a different expectation of them, you get upset. But they're not capable. They're not capable of being different than they are. If you had their experiences, you'd be them. And I had a horrific conversation with my mom where I told her everything that happened to me as a kid, and you don't understand. And I knew that she'd never admit, she'd never apologize, she couldn't. I knew that, but I needed her to hear it. I needed to get it out. And I knew somewhere inside she'd hear it, even though it would be to a strong ego death is death. So her demon is protecting her. And this concept of like demons, no one hurts us more than family, and we're kind of obligated to love them. This is interesting, learn how to love and be loved. Like, we don't show anyone a worse side of us than the people we love most. They get the worst. And because you're obligated in some way, they feel entitled to do whatever they want, really, which is cross your boundaries, which is, I mean, name it. And oftentimes, especially with narcissistic people, they'll remember the version of you they had the most control over. So you'll never be an adult to them. You're still a child. You can't make your own decisions. My mom still tells me to wear a sweater. I'm like, I'm fucking 40. Fuck all the way off. I'm sweating right now. I'm buff. I run hot. So once I got it out, um, and then I had some time to like process my feelings, emotions, what I came to the conclusion is like, I love my mom. She needs my love. I have to not be selfish. So she's not capable of apologizing or seeing what she couldn't see the first time around. But I'll have to, sometimes there's a relationship where you have to give more than 50%. And it's for your own benefit. So I don't know how this plays out for my romantic future, but it would be nice to have someone on the same wavelength who understands this. Because I don't know if it's possible to never have a disagreement and think the same and blah blah blah. But recently, I had met someone who reminded me. It was like looking in a mirror. Like, this is the female version of me. If I grew up the same way they did, I would have the exact same personality, the same intelligence, the same vigor. Um, and it's hard to impress me. Like this girl Lala, who's PhD chemist and all this stuff. Like, even when we're talking about spiritual stuff, it's like I'm not impressed. Um, but like when you recognize yourself in somebody else, and then, you know, I'm 39. I started this shit when I was 36. And how much has changed in that time. But, you know, I selfishly have my own plans of this would make me happy right now. If you could get up to speed, that would be great. But I'm taking away someone's free will and karma and all this stuff. It's like that's not how people become who they're meant to be. It's not my timeline or my wants or whatever. So I think what I've learned now is this was a very powerful lesson, and it's time to accept that it is what it is. All the women I talked about, I wish them the best. Like, I have no ill will. But this one was special, and I don't know if I've ever prayed for someone before. But that in itself is why I'm learning this lesson. It's not up to me. I have no part in this. So, I think now I can let go energetically. Which is really like tragic. I wish I could teach someone how to love and be loved as I learn, and you know what I mean? It doesn't work that way. So this isn't where my energy needs to be. Um, it'll be interesting to see. I'll know immediately when this stage is over, because I've never felt more in sync with the universe, where it's like it's constantly telling me the same thing, waiting for me to catch up because I'm too stubborn. No, but what if there's no what if? So I think the next time around, I graduated from this level, so I won't need this lesson again. It'll be interesting to see if I can be triggered still. I'm glad that I documented all these things, because like you could see my thought process as I'm going, and then it'll be interesting to see what the results are. I was telling a friend of mine, like, if I feel like I'm about to level up, like something has, like when I got over the girl with children, it was like a huge milestone. Like all of a sudden, I got my mojo back, my power back, my luck, my self, and my life got significantly better. And then when I got over the next one, it got better. Then I got over the next one, it got better. It was like each stage that I passed a spiritual test, I got a reward. And as I'm trying to put every piece of the puzzle together to conceptualize this is how it works, and that's why we fight not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high places. It's easy for me to say, okay, that's the person's a demon. They're after more demonic shit. I've been a demon. I talked about how in defending other people, I've become a demon. Like I take more physical and emotional abuse myself, but when someone I care about is attacked, I'm far quicker to react. Which is, I guess it's a noble thing, but it's not a good thing, because some people are after your reaction. And when you give it, you become the demon. And the results will be as if you were. They're no longer at fault. So it's important to pay attention to how you react to things. Very, very important. And very, very important to control your emotions. Because that, more than anything, is contagious. So contagious, especially to children. When my mom was pregnant with me, she was going through a stressful time, and I don't think it's a mystery why I'm the way I am, like hyper vigilant, and um, you know, it's why I became very happy, drunk or high, is because it turned part of my brain off, or I could just be like everybody else. Um, I wasn't thinking about the past, the present, the future. It was just there. Um, but it's a temporary, it's a band-aid. There's work to be done. It's like, why hide the symptom? Because you create other problems. Like I said, like you could drive drunk one time and it's it. You can drink one time, get in a fight, and that's it. Why do that to the people that you love? Why do that to your family or your future family, your spouse? Like, I'm not even willing to do it while I'm single. I can't imagine doing it when there's shit on the line. I would Yeah, I would like to not repeat the mistakes of the past, learn from the past. So I feel a lot lighter. I feel like I actually got something out. This world needs a lot more love. And I need to learn how to do it. And I think it starts with self love. Um, I probably have thousands of things to say on this topic, but I think this is long enough. It was good emotional release. I'm my own therapist. How weird is that? No one can fix you. You fix you. And no one knows you better than yourself. And how do you talk to your subconscious is you look him in the face and you say, "You're the fucking problem, guy. It's not you, it's me. It's we." It's interesting that everybody needs to do this, but nobody's doing it. And hopefully, I guess, somewhere, someday, someone might stumble upon this and find, oh, this is what you do. This is how he did it. Wishful thinking. My contribution to the world is this. Um, I still need I still need to learn how to love properly and how to be loved. It's interesting, like in a relationship, you experience the things, and then you learn alone and you grow alone. Not everybody grows. Some people stay the same, but that's your opportunity, and that's why you have emotions, is to address it. If you hide it with activities and being busy and whatever, you're kicking the can down the road. But eventually, what happened to me is God puts an obstacle in your way so big that you have no choice but to move in a different direction. You lose your job, you lose your house, there's a fire, fucking something happens, and then, of course, we're super upset because change is uncomfortable. But ultimately, it's for our best interests. Like, if you were God, it's how you would do it. It's out of love, even if it doesn't feel like it, which is bananas to think about. The other thing is, it is very clear to me that when I wanted to stay busy, or if I wanted to um, date or hang out with people or whatever, like God definitely intervened. And like this girl's texting me all about her numerology chart and stuff, and I don't care. It's like, I promise you, we're not meant for each other. Just move on. I'm happy to share knowledge, but it's like there's no one more annoying to a guy than a girl he's not trying to fuck. Sorry, that was rude. I got a new book. It's a workbook, which I'm not a fan of at all. Don't make me do homework. The Mountain is You, which transforming self sabotage into self mastery. Is that not right on the money? It's a pretty short book. how I like it in nice big fonts. So, when I'm done, I'll give it to you. All right. I have no more insights currently, but all of this has been happening in my head. And I feel like, honestly, that there has been spiritual forces pushing me in a certain direction, which is why I've been conflicted. That's why I've been uncomfortable. Um, but last night, even though I woke up at 3:33, it felt like I got to the next chapter. I uncovered something. Yeah, and I'm praying out loud. I think that our voice has power. So the things that I want to happen in this world, I don't think matter as much as I'm praying for the best result in my life and other people's best result in their life, not for the specific thing I want. And I think that's the big difference. That's what letting go is. So here's to me letting go.